Good evening to all of you viewers of Equinoxe television. It's time for the news. Thank you so much for joining us. We begin right away with our major stories. 2 women have died precisely in Dschang in the west region of Cameroon after they were fatally wounded by a mentally deranged man. And how did that happen? We will be telling you more in this newscast. And students of the University of Douala and other universities across the country have resumed classes for the academic year 2022-2023. Those were our major stories. We will be telling you more in the course of this newscast. Welcome back, viewers. We begin by informing you this information just coming into our studio. So as the former rector of the University of Douala, Professor Dschang has been acquitted by the Special Criminal Tribunal. He was freed today after spending several years in prison, and Professor Dschang was accused of embezzling public funds. We will sure be coming back to that in our subsequent editions of the news. And now we told you in the headlines in the West region that 2 women have died after they were fatally wounded by a mentally deranged person in Dschang. It is in the West region of Cameroon. And our reporter Dschang in the report which comes up next tells us that the said madman escaped jungle justice.
Of Bazintia village in Dschang subdivision of the West region. They have just lost 2 mothers, Rosalie and Sorel, to the cold hands of death. The 2 ladies were killed by an alleged mentally sick man in the early hours of Tuesday. It's a bad day in Bazintia. A man came prepared and killed our mothers, with the husband hospitalized. We don't know if he will live. We are very angry and we are no longer in security. The alleged mentally sick man is reported to have escaped from the hands of a tradi practitioner at about 3 a.m. on Tuesday, from where he visited several homes in Bazintia village to commit the acts. Surprisingly, no one knows him in the village. We don't really know the man in question. They say he's from Yaoundé, but he's not in the village here with us, and he says he has 3 more persons to kill, so he's conscious. It was thanks to the timely intervention of the forces of law and order that the man wasn't lynched by the population of Bazintia village. The people have just one request directed to the security forces. We are requesting that the security forces should give us the man and we handle it our own way, and he will help us in burying those he killed. Apart from the death recorded, the alleged mentally sick man also met a man in his farmland, then used a stick on him, but fortunately he is still up. Investigations are on course to get to the reason for the actions of this alleged mentally sick man in Bazintia village.
Sad indeed. From the West region, we come back to Douala to still talk about something really sad. Businesses have been perturbed at Equinoxe. It is a locality in the Douala 4 municipality here in Douala, and the atmosphere there is still very tense. That was after a 21-year-old child was killed during a fight. Our reporter Dschang once again tells us more about the atmosphere at Equinoxe.
It was a quiet Equinoxe neighborhood that we met as inhabitants continue to observe the atmosphere of how things will turn out. All business operators in this zone have had their stores locked up for the past days after a 21-year-old man reportedly died in the course of a fight last Sunday. We were here on Sunday when the fight started, but we can't tell what caused it.
We don't know where to be the cause. Then start fight.
We tried stopping the fight on several occasions, but one of the boys fighting was finally killed. A group of boys later came on Monday to stop us from opening our stores.
That boy then don't come out, scatter kaku them. Then say me no say stay today with the local waiting then the pass before we see how we go do after.
For the past days, even those who sell roasted fish or do little business along the roadside have been deprived of that routine activity, with many already feeling the loss. The people who stopped the business operators to do their activities blame them for not stopping the fight that led to the death of their brother.
They
say we saw as they were killing their brother and we didn't intervene, but we told them that we separated them severally, but he was finally killed. The Entrepilot neighborhood is now under total security, but unfortunately no business place is opened.
And now we talk education. Classes have resumed across the national territory for university students across the country. And here at the University of Douala, the students are complaining that the campus is without electricity on day one of school resumption. Our reporter Lucy Liengu is here, was at the University of Douala. She now tells us more in the following write-up.
On the first day of school resumption at the University of Douala, all is not well. The campus is without electricity and the students are worried. There is no light. Students studying computer science have difficulties. We need light to use the machines. Students who have laptops at home are forced to bring them to school. Those of us who don't have, we are forced to spy from our friends, and it's very difficult because we cannot meet up with what the lecturer is saying. It is a very difficult situation. New students from different faculties could be seen seeking orientation, while others moving from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 are struggling to get their marks rectified. Mojom Pelap, a level 3 student of the Faculty of History, expressed dissatisfaction towards the method used by lecturers to teach.
The methods that were used by our teachers in when we were in level 2 was that the teachers were like giving us that we were to go and photocopy, then the teachers come or the teacher does not come. It happens that the teacher comes, it happens that the teacher does not come, and we were forced to like notes on, and it was not that much easy. But we hope that this year the teachers will not only give us the notes, but they will accompany, that is, they will follow us.
English-speaking students say they have difficulties studying at the University of Douala.
So we, the Anglophones, we face many difficulties because we had to put in more efforts than it was required. Because we had to not only take the notes, but we had to go and translate it. And it took us much time and much energy. So we just hope that this year the teachers that will come, they will make a little bit of effort to think about, or we the Anglophones, like to lecture us in English.
As you can see, we are at the University of Douala, Campus 2. We are at NSEC, University of Douala. School has resumed for the 2022-2023 academic year. It is a smooth resumption, just that students complain of lack of electricity, which most of the times hinders their studies. For Equinoxe Television, I am Esia Lucy Liengu.
Thank you, Lucy, for that report from the University of Douala. We now take you to the University of Ngaoundéré, where resumption on day one is said to be very timid. We were told it could be because of the creation of other universities across the country, plus unaffordable accommodation in Ngaoundéré. Our reporter Innocent Aze now tells us more about the ambience at the University of Ngaoundéré.
This is the state of the road stretch linking the Ngaoundéré central town to the University of Ngaoundéré. It takes students 30 minutes or more to cover this 15-kilometer stretch of roads before arriving on campus. These students of the University of Ngaoundéré rejoined the campus after several months on break. It is the start of a new academic year, but the turnout is still very timid. A reason being exorbitant accommodation cost. Even though students are not many, rooms are still very expensive. Well, we have however found one okay and affordable. Another factor accountable for the timidity is creation of new universities in Betwa and Garoua. With the creation of new universities, students make a choice, which has consequently affected the number of students in the University of Ngaoundéré. We, however, have some faculties which will raise the number.
Mais je voudrais me fonder un espoir sur le fait que au niveau de la FAL.
Delaying entrance examination results is also accountable. Those who will not pass the entrance examination will obviously run to enroll in the University of Ngaoundéré. Registration of Year 1 students continues till November. These freshmen are also being oriented on campus by their seniors.
Away from education, civil society actors say the divisional tour of members of the Southwest Regional Assembly is a window dressing. The officials were in the Libialem division of the Southwest region where they had a taste of the impact of the Anglophone crisis. Our reporter on that beat is, for me, Dschang Sanda.
This occasion would have held in Menji, our divisional headquarters. But then we are here. You know the reasons more than myself.
And here in Menji, the reasons are clearly visible to everybody. Menji and a greater portion of the Libialem division has been completely abandoned by locals, fleeing abduction, burnings, killings and destruction within the over 6-year-long armed conflict in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon. Completely deserted, with houses, offices and the ceremonial ground colonized by wild animals, the field delegation from the Southwest Regional Assembly headed to Alo subdivision instead.
However, we thank God that we are all here. We have come here because the Regional Assembly instructed us to come and give this material. And they said it was the beginning.
A pioneer grassroots action, especially within the Libialem division, close to 3 years after the election. A move highly criticized by actors of the civil society who see it as amounting to nothing more than window dressing. Members of the Southwest Regional Assembly say the plan is to move to all the 6 divisions comprising the Southwest region.
And now let's listen to this excerpt of Barrister Tampu Richard, a civil society actor who thinks as those regional actors going to the different regions of the Southwest region might yield very little fruit in relation to resolving the Anglophone crisis. Let's listen to him in this excerpt.
Yes, it's the impression that we make, or a majority of persons will make, because you know that ever since that they were elected into office since 2020, we are still to know exactly what are their defined missions, what have they been working, and in clear terms it has not been seen. So we are wondering whether this tour is really going to bring fruit, or is it just a means of spending public funds or fulfilling formalities. But like I told you earlier, we should not block the avenues for peace. We should give peace a chance, and I hope that is going to be healed this time around. But however, I believe that if things were to be done in a proper way, it is the head of state who was supposed to be the person to tour these regions and preach the message of peace.
And now, still talking about the Anglophone crisis, let's now move over to Boya to meet Mala Glory in this report, which tells us, in which he tells us that much is still to be done in resolving the Anglophone crisis, which has been going on for several years now.
Go talk the rating on
The disgruntled inmates of the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Center of Boya stormed the street to protest against the failed promises made by the government as major recommendations to end the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest region.
Our main problem is to be reintegrated and be removed in this center. That's our problem.
4 years after, the ex-separatist fighters say the skills acquired during the training at the center is not put to use.
How can somebody be here for 4 years? The first 2 years he used in learning the poetry, he used in learning the driving and doing some other extracurricular activities. Now, in the additional 2 years, he's here, he stopped. The poetry that he even learned, he is out of his skill. He has no skill again anymore. He can no longer drive. So we are begging on the government.
The forces of law and order were able to bring calm to the center. Meantime, the ex-combatant called on the government to see into their situation in order for them to be fully integrated in the society.
Those who are occupants of the de-armament or disarmament center in Boya who were on strike in the streets of the Southwest Regional Headquarters, evidently much is still to be done in resolving the Anglophone crisis. And now we talk something else. Drivers of inter-urban transport vehicles in Banjok in the Littoral region have overthrown their president and elected a new one. They accuse the former president of being very unscrupulous. As a reporter, Immaculate Fogui tells us in the following write-up.
A tense atmosphere between drivers plying the Yaoundé, Obala, Banjok and Kanjok highway. The meeting at the Banjok Council Hall is to elect a new president of the Drivers Association. The drivers are accusing their outgoing president Olivier Nte of being unscrupulous. With the authorization of the divisional officer of Banjok, a general assembly is organized in the presence of security elements. Yannick Zay emerges winner of the election. The newly elected president promises to be transparent in the management of transport affairs and equally reiterates that the outgoing president will have to present his financial records. Though some people wanted to disrupt the election, we are happy everything went on well. I was elected president of the association. I will do everything so as to see this association grow from grass to grace. Everything needs to be transparent. Even though I am the outgoing president, I hold no grudges against the newly elect. I don't think the action is legitimate. However, I would like to call on the authorities to intervene. The outgoing president denies accepting the verdict while denouncing the non-respect of the law. He promises convening another General Assembly. He later leaves the hall devastated. For the past months, the drivers have been decrying the lack of transparency at the helm of the association.
And now we move on to this advertorial. Global's education system is breaking new grounds to facilitate access to world universities for Cameroonian and African students in general. Several students who obtained fully funded scholarships to study in India are leaving Cameroon for New Delhi. The first set left yesterday through the Yaoundé-Simalène International Airport. Glory Malata Sosmo.
Global's education system is opening the doors of top world universities for students from Cameroon and the African continent at large. The doors of Indian state universities are already open for these students from different parts of Cameroon. Through the International Education Master Key of Global's education systems, they obtain fully funded scholarships. Via the Yaoundé-Simalène International Airport, they are embarking on the educational journey to India.
I'm going to study aerospace engineering in India. I got a fully funded scholarship and I'm going to be sponsored by the Indian government. Well, I got this opportunity through the Global's education system, which is an agency, and it has really helped me a lot. I am going to study a master's program in clinical biochemistry. So I just want to encourage anyone out there who wishes to study abroad to contact Global's education system.
Once you arrive, try to locate your gate number.
After closely supervising the over 4 months admission process, the managing director of Global's education system, Marcellus Mbamek, is here giving them instructions for a safe trip to India.
When you arrive New Delhi, you go through the normal checkout control. They will check your passport, stamp it and everything. They ask you, why are you here? You say you're here on studies. I'm very excited to be here to see all these students. You know, Organizing these exams for fully funded scholarship to India has been a very serious challenge to Global's education system and my team. But at the end of the day, we succeeded to get some students who made it through. So this year around, we are planning to launch another campaign to make sure that many more students from Cameroon will benefit from this fully funded scholarship to India.
Marveled by the expertise and support of Global's education systems, some parents are also here to see off their children.
On my own as a parent, I don't think I would have afforded to foot the bills, but through Global's education systems, that's facilitated everything from start to the end. So I can say I'm a very happy parent.
I refuse. I said my son will not go because I'm not sure of this deal. But when they got to Yaoundé to pick his passport, my husband told me there were a lot of parents there. I just gave in, trusting in God. And today he's traveling. I just thank God for everything.
Global's education systems country manager for Cameroon says the opportunity is open to all students.
What you have to do to get the scholarship is you write an exam. When you write an exam and you pass the exam, you qualify. It doesn't matter whether you're bachelor, master's or PhD. It's for all students. The age doesn't matter. You just need to write the exam and pass. Global's education systems is the one facilitating these exams.
The second group of students will leave Yaoundé for New Delhi Saturday.
And that was it for the news. Thank you, viewers, for according us your time always. Our programs continue. Equinoxe Soir is in 30 minutes. Once again, thank you so much for staying with us.
Equinoxe Télévision, au-delà de l'image, nous rendons compte.